the birth of Vaelthys, the Abyssal Serpent. In the deepest trenches of the midnight ocean, where the sun's light had never dared to reach, something ancient stirred. The currents whispered of an egg, vast and shimmering, pulsing with the rhythm of the tides. It lay nestled within the skeletal remains of a long-forgotten leviathan, guarded by the eerie glow of bioluminescent creatures that danced in the abyss like phantom stars. For centuries, the egg had slumbered, waiting for the call of the ocean to rouse it. And then, on the eve of the celestial tide, when the twin moons aligned in the sky, the ocean trembled. A crack split across the shell, releasing a pulse of energy that sent ripples through the water. From within emerged a serpent unlike any other. Its scales shimmered with the hues of the deep, midnight blues, iridescent greens, and veins of silver that pulsed like living currents. Its golden eyes flickered open, filled with the wisdom of the abyss. The ocean had birthed its newest guardian. The sea called it Vaelthys, first currents. Vaelthys drifted through the abyss, feeling the pull of the currents and the weight of the ocean pressing around him. Instinct guided his movements, his serpentine form undulating with effortless grace. Strange creatures lurked in the trenches, anglerfish with fanged maws, translucent beasts with sightless eyes, titanic squids whose limbs writhed in the dark. They watched him, wary of the newborn sovereign of the depths. Curiosity soon led Vaelthys upward, toward the realm where light dared to dance upon the waves. His ascent was slow, cautious, for the abyss had taught him that the ocean was vast and perilous. As he neared the twilight waters, he saw wonders unknown to the deep shoals of silver fish moving as one, coral gardens blooming with life, and above all, the shadow of something unnatural. Ships, the sailor and the serpent. One night, beneath a sky strewn with stars, a lone vessel drifted upon the waters. Aboard stood a young sailor, no older than 17 summers. His name was Talon, an orphan of the sea, raised among salt-crusted decks and endless horizons. As he gazed into the inky waters, he felt something stir below. Presence. Then the sea parted. A massive shape rose from the depths, coiling like a living tide. Vaelthys, young but already formidable, lifted his head above the waves. His golden eyes locked onto the sailors, and for a moment, there was silence. No terror, no fury, just the meeting of two souls bound by the ocean's call. Talon, against all reason, did not flee. Instead, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a shell, smooth and pearlescent. He tossed it gently into the water. "A gift for the sea," he whispered. Vaelthys watched the shell sink. Then, in a motion both slow and deliberate, dipped his head in acknowledgement before vanishing into the depths. The awakening of power. As the cycles of the moon passed, Vaelthys grew stronger, his body lengthening, his scales hardening to the resilience of tempered steel. He learned the ways of the ocean, how to command the tides, how to weave through the currents unseen, how to silence the water itself to avoid detection. But there was something deeper within him, something waiting to be unleashed. One night, as a storm raged above, he felt it. The ocean surged, answering a call he did not yet understand. As he coiled beneath the churning waves, his body shimmered, and the water around him pulsed with power. The storm mirrored his awakening, lightning striking the sea with unnatural precision. He realized then that he was no mere beast. He was part of the ocean itself, the hunters of the deep. But not all who sailed the seas were as kind as Talon. Word of a great serpent in the waters spread like wildfire, and soon men sought to claim its head. A fleet of ironclad ships, captained by mercenaries and slayers of the deep, ventured into the midnight ocean, armed with harpoons laced with poison and nets woven with enchanted steel. Vaelthys felt them before he saw them. The tremors of their ships cut through the water like the drumbeat of war. He knew this was a test, one that would decide if he was to rule the ocean or fall like so many before him. As the first harpoon struck the water, the sea answered. Waves surged, swallowing ships whole. Whirlpools formed in the blink of an eye, dragging hunters into the abyss. Vaelthys wove through the chaos, his body a blur, his power unleashed. He was no longer a mere serpent. He was the fury of the ocean. And when the last ship splintered and sank, he gazed upon the wreckage with neither hatred nor sorrow, only understanding. The ocean had no mercy, only balance. The legend begins. As the years passed, sailors spoke in hushed voices of the Abyssal Serpent, the guardian of the midnight ocean. Some claimed he could summon storms at will, others that he could drag entire armadas into the depths with but a flick of his tail. Many feared him, a few revered him, but one, a lone sailor with silvered hair and a knowing smile, still carried a pearlescent shell in his pocket. Talon had not forgotten, and neither had Vaelthys, for the sea remembers all who dare to call it home.